IVM.
This is Storytellers and Story Sellers. You're listening to Vineet Kanabar live on tape on the IVM Podcast Network. On today's episode, we're talking to someone who I consider a veteran of the web series space. Somebody who's been around ever since I started following this space. Somebody whose performances I have thoroughly enjoyed in web series like Baked, First, Season 2, Aam Aadmi Family, and this interesting screen patti show called Weekends. Sorry, it was a Screen Patti show, right?
Yeah.
Right, Pranay?
Yeah,
it was a Screen Patti show. It was a Screen Patti. Hi, Pranay. Welcome to Storytellers and Story Sellers.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's great to be talking to you right after we've just sort of worked together on First.
Yes.
It's one of my clients is a brand partner on it, and I just totally loved your performance and Kriti's on that show.
To say that also. So I mean, I don't know whether I should take that as a compliment or not, but thank you so much, man. Thank you.
No, it's totally meant as a compliment, not just because of the performances, but also the fact that you guys shot that remotely. The director was remote, actors were remote. So, and we'll talk about that.
Director to main tha, but right. So we were the house had the directors and the actors, director and the actors, but it was, we've never shot something before. We've never. I keep telling Kriti that I'm very bad at photography. Whether it's still photography or video photography, that's one area of my understanding that, I know what is good and what is bad, but I don't know how to fix it at all. So, we had some sort of roadblocks that we were facing, but so that's what made it really fun and really exciting to be able to learn all these new skills while you're at it, and sitting at home.
I'm sure, man. I mean, I was talking to Nisarg Mehta, who's the writer on Hostages on another episode, and we were discussing how the lockdown has started impacting stories and creativity in its own way. Right? I mean, there's no lockdown on creativity. There is a lockdown on resources, right? And it's wonderful to see people learning new skills, new ways of presenting stories, new stories altogether as well. But let me get you started. Like I said at the beginning, and I mean that with utmost respect, is how you're one of the veterans of this space, right?
There's been big. I feel like मेरी कहानी खत्म होने को आ रही है.
Oh no! Like I said, I don't mean it like that. I mean it as someone.
It's a very sweet thing you're saying, but I seriously don't think I'm a veteran of this space at all.
That's very humble.
I've done a few things. Yeah, I started early in the web series space, but at the same time, I'm, it's every single day you do something, you learn so much that you realize that मुझे अभी कुछ भी नहीं पता है. So.
And that's super humble, right? Very similar to how a lot of young, talented people are taking this space. But like I mentioned, Baked, CEO Giri, Weekends, Aam Aadmi Family, First. There was Love, Travel, Repeat. I think that was what it
wasn't a fictional show though. It was a travel show that Kriti and I did.
So non-fiction travel show, right? So help us understand from an actor director's perspective, what has changed in this space for you over the past sort of 7-8 years that it's been around? How do you see yourself now differently? How do you see stories differently?
So I mean, off the top of my head, this space has changed drastically over the last 7 years, at least the way I see it. When I came into the space, I came in having shot Baked the first season in Delhi, and I used to live in Delhi. All of us used to live in Delhi. We didn't know anybody from Bombay, Mumbai. We didn't know, we didn't know how things work. We didn't know how a set usually works. I had done a few ads here and there, but that was the most I had done in the screen space. We were all theater actors. We'd been doing theater for years and years, but this was the first thing we'd done. And because of that, we found our own ways to do things, Everybody had, experiments and failures that they did in the first season of Baked. And because of that, we came in with a different understanding. So when we all together moved to Bombay, we started working in different things, and we suddenly realized, okay, people's style of working is different. But at the same time, this space was experimental. It was something that was new. It wasn't run by large corporations. It wasn't run by large production companies. It was something that, you know, the faces, the actors were all new. You know, whether it was a Sumit Vyas or a Mithila Palkar, they were both sort of big faces in the this small pond that we were part of at that time, which is web series. Um, they were also sort of faces that weren't extremely well known in the outside, in the other screen world. You know, whether it's television or
Right.
films. And because of that, there was tons of experimentation that people did with storytelling techniques,
Right.
with acting techniques, with the way in which we approached the entire job, you know, behind the scenes as well. Then I think about 4 5 years ago, um, this new wave came in, because suddenly the audiences started coming over here. There was a lot of YouTube viewership as well, and big corporations realized ये तो चल रहा है, पैसे इधर डाल सकते हैं. Now what happens is that जब पैसे मिलते हैं, and it's always a good thing for money to come in. You know, I've always been a big propagator of trying to get money into theater as well, because that's how people will make that a job of theirs, and, you know, make it a sustainable living. So,
Absolutely.
so once the money started coming in, there is a balance and an equilibrium that you have to maintain. Certain things you have to do that cannot experiment to such a degree where you uh, where the risk is larger than the reward.
Understood. Yeah, absolutely.
So because of that, certain stories started coming in, which were about, you know, which was similar to television. And now
Right.
there's an entire stream of online shows that are out there that can very easily be on television as well. You know, there's nothing really experimental. There's nothing different about them. Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
The viewership is coming online, and with you know, telecom companies giving you such low prices on internet and stuff, it's reaching larger audiences also. Uh, but at the same time, thoda experimentation kam ho gaya, and we've reached a more structured way of working in this industry.
Which is both good and bad in a way,
Exactly.
if you really think about
Yeah.
it, right?
So,
Um,
sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but just one thing I
no,
want
no,
to add
please,
is
please.
that the way I see my job over here is that, you know, there are people out there that are doing the job of the suits, which is, you know, the business end of things, which is extremely important. And thank you so much for that to you, Vineet, because you're helping me get work. So that's the
Hey,
best
always a
thing that I
pleasure,
can
man.
ask for. But my job over here is to try and keep the integrity of my creativity intact,
Right.
while bringing the business in. So they're always, and I don't see this as a tussle between the two. I don't see this as, you know, that they are at loggerheads. Ki creativity versus business are always at loggerheads. No, it's a give and take that you have to do. It's a dance that you're doing at all times with the business world, with the creative world, because you're trying to find ways in which to work together. And when that they work in exact synchronicity, that's when magic happens. You know, that's when people get to watch something and it's extremely experimental and creative at the same time. So I see my job as the one who, you know, troubles you a little bit, but I don't think it's animosity at all. You know, I think it's a required medium. I need you to push me, and I need to push you as well. So I think it's
Absolutely, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I mean, I started this podcast with that premise at its heart, right? I mean, the age-old tussle between creative and business, and they will always be at loggerheads. Writer and producer will always be at loggerheads. Business and brand and CP will always be at loggerheads. And I don't. I mean, in my experience, while that is true at certain points, I don't see that as an insurmountable challenge. And I
not
think
at
you put
all.
it very nicely, that it has to work in synchronicity. He also talked about several. Sorry, I'll take that line in a second. But what's interesting about what you said is that there has been a little bit more formula coming in, a little bit more structure coming in. What's disappointing, honestly, to me, is that even though some players in the market have chosen experimental stories, the delivery and the treatment seems to be just a bad parody of TV or Bollywood. I'm going to go ahead and say there was no need to make Drive or Mrs. Serial Killer the way
Yeah,
it was made. Right? And again, it's not like Jacqueline Fernandez or Sushant Singh Rajput don't have enough platform, right? But again, it's a little disappointing coming from. I mean, you might call it a purist's view of web content where no censorship versus yes censorship, so much
yeah,
more openness, open audience versus traditional TV audience, gatekeepers, etc. You tend to expect more, but like you mentioned, I think a little bit of structure is
yeah.
important. There is going to be more evolution, right, with the business side of things. Another interesting thing that you touched upon earlier was several production houses, several directors on the web, different approaches that have come together, and you've been fortunate enough to have been part of shows at different
Yeah.
places, right? What are some of the approaches, some of the directors? What are some of your favorites to work with? Some great experiences in the past few years.
So I, I have been very, very lucky to have not only worked with, in quite a few series and shows, but also to work with a very, very diverse type of, people and creative people. So I mean, if you ask me to point a favorite, I don't think I'll be able to do that, but my heart always goes out to Vishwajoy Mukherjee, who directed Baked, because you know Baked was the first thing we did, and it was an experience where all of us were just, our minds were going crazy while we were shooting in season 1. In season 2, yeah, we were commissioned to do it, so there was a little bit more structure that came into it. And then again, we shot for the Baked movie last year, and again we were mad hatters. We were like, yeah, ye bhi try karte hain, ye bhi try karte hain. How much, but then budgets are so less because you're doing it without any help of a network or something. So it
Yeah,
sort of it limits you that way. So yeah, like I love working with the guys who did Baked, with Akash and Vishwajoy, and of course like all my co-actors there also. Um, but then again, everybody I've worked with has had some strong point that I've learned from. The guys at TS at Screenpati, which is a wing of TVF, and you worked there, so you know it. Those guys are geniuses at writing. They
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 really are.
are able to bring out a story in ways that I can't even imagine. And I think that the comedy they bring up also is so well written. It's on the page that as an actor you have to do much less. The writer's job becomes bigger, which is so heartwarming to see, because writers don't get the due that they deserve. In this
Right.
industry. Then again, with the guys at Dice Media and Pocket Aces, they're really, they so the amount of trust that they put in you, I don't think I've felt anywhere else. They say, okay, we trust you to be able to do this, and they actually mean it, and they give us that trust, and they let the actor do the job. They let the whatever creative capacity we've come in, they are truly believing in us in that moment. And I think that speaks volumes for a company that's already so large. It could have very easily gone into a corporate style of functioning, but because of that one factor of trust that they're putting in you, it becomes a family sort of atmosphere, which I
No,
love.
I really love the way that they do things.
Yeah,
Again, I've seen them as competitors at a certain point in time.
yeah,
I'm also close friends with a few of the people there. I really like the openness and the trust, like you
yeah.
said, that they bring to several projects. Beautiful process there as well. Let me ask you this then. Over the years, have you developed a sort of process for yourself to select what you want to be a part of, whether it is as an actor, whether it is as a director?
Okay.
How do you select what you do and don't do?
Okay. So just to clarify, a process in my selection and not in what I'm doing, like when I'm doing it.
Yeah, a
Okay.
process in your
In my
selection.
selection.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, I mean, I don't think I'm at a stage where I get to choose very much. I'll
Sure.
be very honest with you. It's, if something comes my way, I have an ambit of what I want to be able to do. But I think in the early parts of one's career, it's important to stretch that ambit and say, okay,
Sure.
even if sometimes I don't agree with the content of what is going out, of course, if it's extremely politically divergent from what I'm doing, then I'm not going to do it.
Right.
If I get if somebody calls me and says ये ad है political party के लिए promote करना है, नहीं, I'm not going to do it because my face is going to go on to a political party's advertisement, which is directly linking me to that. So I'm not going to do that. But if there's a show and the storyline is not exactly my aesthetic or it's not exactly my style, I will definitely go for that. But what I definitely do try to do is try to choose different types of things. I did Baked, where I played Mohammad Haris, who's I don't like saying he's come from a small town because I don't see him as a small town person at all. And he's come from Allahabad, so it's not like it's a really small town or anything like that. But he is new to a city. He's
Right.
new to Delhi. Now, when I did, why I got attracted to CEO Giri, and I've got to give Samar, the director of CEO Giri, credit for that, is that he wanted me to do something different. And the
Right.
moment he told me that, I remember the audition was so weird. It was I I gave an audition, and then immediately after the audition, I had to fly. I was flying to Singapore or something like that, and I was
Right.
with Kriti. We were going to Singapore. It was like New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve or something. And suddenly, I get a call from him saying, "Hey, can you do one more audition because we forgot to do one particular scene?" And I was like, "Yeah, now I'm at the airport. I can't really do anything." So he said, "No, no, it's super urgent." So we landed in Singapore, and there's a bunch of officials over there. There are people walking by, and we suddenly see these three benches lying on the side in the terminal. Like, we haven't even gotten off the, like, we've just about gotten off the aero bridge to get into the airport, and we sit down over there,
Right.
and I'm auditioning, and I start, and it's a very loud audition also. For
Right.
that particular character, I thought that, it's very different from what I've just done, which is Baked. So I really enjoyed that. With Aam Aadmi Family, I felt like his center of gravity was a bit lower than both these other characters that I just played. So I
Right.
enjoyed that. He was a bit more grounded. He was a bit more stable. As,
And a lovely character it was.
thank you, thank
It
you,
was a really lovely character.
thank you.
And again, one of my personal favorite shows, Aam Aadmi
Yeah,
Family, and the turn in the second season as well is very very interesting.
yeah. And those guys
And
are
again,
again
I
like
said, check it out.
timeliners as an entire team is they work. They're like all the best parts of Dilliwalas put in one, which is like all heart. Those guys come up with so much love in that entire project that I was an outsider when I came in because they'd already done one season, but the amount of love that those guys gave just makes you part of a big family. It is actually truly a family, that one. So
It totally is. It totally is. And Apurv,
yeah,
Simar, Kunal, Ekansh, all of
yeah,
these guys up there, and
yeah,
I've seen their journey as well very closely
yeah,
as part of the team that started Timeliners way back when, and to see them go from like sketch बनाते हैं छोटे
yeah,
videos बनाते हैं to make bona fide shows in Delhi and time after time,
yeah,
right? I mean, not just Aam Aadmi Family with Flames and the
yeah,
other stuff as well. Really, really big fan of their process
yeah.
as well. You talked about something very briefly, and let me double click on that. You said I wouldn't do something that won't fit sort of my worldview of my character. How would you say that has evolved over time, right? Who you want to be seen as an actor, or what kind of roles or what kind of worldview you want to bring.
Yeah.
So that's sort of part one, and part two is, did that get impacted with your learnings as at Lambda as well? I mean, what role did that have to play?
So I'm going to take the second question first.
Sure.
At Lambda, the idea of choosing a role was never there, because Lambda, just for to be able to give your viewers an idea of what it is. It's a school. It's an acting school that I had gone to basically for about a year and a few months. And over there, the style was such that you get to do whatever they give you, and they're giving you all sorts of characters. They're giving you female characters. They're giving you characters that are not human. They're giving you characters from that you don't look like at all. I remember I had come in and I was. I mean, typically, when you're a little insecure about who you are and all, you end up using humor to to sort of placate any situation. So I was always a bit, trying to be the clown in the class. Um, and the lead drama teacher came up to me one day and she was like, don't you don't need to do that. You can very easily just not be the clown in the class, and we won't
Right.
bother you with anything. And from that moment onwards, when they gave me new types of characters, it really like uh, I I found that it gives you an insight into what other people are thinking, and my way of thinking is not always the same as your way of thinking. In most cases, it isn't. So it gives
Right.
you an idea of how other people think, and that helps you form your own opinions. Um, and so I don't think Lambda helps me right now in terms of choosing the character that I do. But at the same time, it once I choose the character, the training that I got at Lambda has really like sort of structured my way of processing a character and delving into it a bit deeper.
And that
Coming,
that makes a lot of sense.
hmm. Coming into the first question about how mm, I choose different characters based on and keeping my worldview in mind, and keeping my, whether it be my political thoughts or whatever it is in mind. Um, I think it's important to take a large stand on your beliefs, but at the same time, if something comes around that makes me question my beliefs, I will not say no to it. Um,
Right.
of course, if it's in a direction that I don't know if I'm allowed to be very political over here in
Oh,
this.
please,
Um,
please. I'm the
yeah.
most political podcaster there is.
Okay. Okay. So great. Now, if I got if somebody said you have to be part of this movie, accidental prime minister, or PM Modi or something.
Propaganda,
There's like
basically.
propaganda films, like even Uri, to a certain degree, is a propaganda film. Um, like I don't think I can do something like that, because the film, not only within the story but even outside the film, it's taking a very strong stand, and I
Right.
don't believe in that stand. I can't get myself to be part of that stronger propaganda. If you want to make something a bit more subtle, I can try it to be able to understand what goes through my mind when I'm doing it. Like I would very happily play a very staunch Hindutva character. Um, Not because I like believe in that at all, which I don't. I'm far away from that. I'm a very staunch atheist, but I would do it just to be able to see what goes through my heart at that point, what goes through my mind. What happens to my body when I feel like that. And it's interesting to see, because then you start to empathize a little bit with, not empathize, but you start to get their route to
Worldview.
having an
Yeah.
argument. And
Yeah.
then when you do have an argument with your mama, who is a staunch Hindutva person, or with your uncle, or with your someone, you end up like you know what route to take to get through to them in that
Right.
argument. So I mean, I'm not just talking about dinner table conversations here. That's why I do a role, but it's just that, I mean, I would not say no to something that is that's like, I would not say no to a character that is against my views, but I might say no to a show or a film or a project that is taking a larger stand, which is divergently against my views. yeah, I think that's my
I think
only.
I think that's a very
Hmm.
no. Sorry, please finish.
No, I was saying that's probably my only rule in choosing something. Then of course,
No, I
then there
think
are
it's
other things
very
which are non-political also, which
right, right.
like if something is too stereotypical, if something is too like if the director is not asking much of you, if my mind is not being asked to work, if my body is not being asked to work, if it's just a showpiece over there standing, then it's not interesting. So then in that case, I might say no to something.
Then it's not stimulating or
Yeah,
challenging in that way.
yeah,
Yeah. Just staying with what you said previously, I think how you put it out was a very mature way of looking at it, to be honest. Um, you have to participate in the dialogue that is present in society through whatever art that you're creating, right? And I think having that openness and having the grounding to see the larger impact
yeah.
of what may be, right? I mean, again, and to my listeners, yes, we'll just wrap up the political part of this in a couple of minutes. But I
Sorry,
think it's very important.
guys.
It's very important for talents and for actors to realize what they're sort of contributing to as well, right? And very heartening to see someone take that kind of a mature outlook to this, right?
Hmm.
Let me pivot this quickly to non-political stuff,
Yeah,
as if the lockdown is non-political. But we, like I was mentioning, some very interesting stories that are already coming out of the lockdown, and
yeah,
new formats coming through. Right. I remember when the first time. Someone from Dice Media called me and said, "Hey, we're doing first season 2, and we done season 1 as
yeah,
well, with Dice, with Rohan and Apurva
yeah,
and Dairy Milk, right?" And they said, "Yeah, we're going to do season 2 as well. We're going to do this lockdown story." And I remembered this really old web series that I'd seen called 7E10P. Very old
yes,
sort of reference that I'd sent out, and that's like
yeah,
something that was made in 2010 or 11 or something like that. So I'm very sort of glad that there are the impact of the lockdown on creativity, on output, has not been adverse. It's been
yeah.
something that's pushed things along in a big way, right? um, what is your I mean, how was your process when you were trying to figure this out, right? Again, I'm sure you're used to working on big productions like Aam Aadmi Family, for that matter, was quite a big
Yeah.
production, even though it was done in that little bit of an office and there
It's a big
comparatively.
farm. It's probably 2 acres. You can't call it a little small office, though.
That's all right. Like Green Avenue is not, it's not small
Yeah.
compared to a movie. It might be small, but it's still quite a
Yes.
full-fledged production in that sense,
Yeah.
right? So, what were how did you negotiate the challenges that this lockdown threw up when you were pulling this off?
Hmm. So, we didn't, when we were approached to do this, we, without thinking about the challenges, just said yes because, it was work that was coming our way, it was sounding exciting, and we had to do it ourselves. So, we didn't think about the logistics of it. But once we did, we realized that this lockdown, of course, poses a lot of limitations. But once you once you have a limitation, which is physical and geographical, you realize that your mind starts exploring more. It's like
Right.
they say that if you lose one sense, your other senses become your other four senses become
Sharper.
more sharp. Um,
Yeah.
and I think the same thing happened to us where we were like, okay, we don't have a tripod. How do we do this? We stacked up, we had this old trolley. We put a lot of books on it. We put a old cassette case on top of it and put the phone on that and started shooting. We didn't have lights. We got lamps from different places and set up as though it was one sided. It wasn't just all
Yeah.
around the light. So it was really interesting to see what we could do with that lockdown. And because of that, our creative side started coming out more because we had to not only be creative in our traditional job of acting or directing the show and storytelling, but also in trying to find ways to do something.
Right.
And that way, I think I thank both Kriti and my families because uh, everybody in the family is has got these creative ways to do things sort of mindset,
Right.
and they're all really excited about doing it. So they all helped us figure out, okay, try this, try that, and it was really fun to do. And it takes your mind off the lockdown, because once, if you're in a lockdown and you're not doing anything, then I guess your mind is also locked down and it's becoming smaller and smaller, and that's when you're feeling the pressure. Like I was feeling ki, yaar, it's almost like I'm a kettle about to start steaming, like I'm a pressure cooker which is about to start blowing my lid off.
Right.
Because there's nothing to do, you're not allowed to go out, there's no work coming, and then you realize, my work is not supposed to come your way, you're supposed to go to the work.
Go out there.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so mentally, I think we started doing that, and that lockdown really helped us, uh, like take that head on. Um, so I think now, of course, like you said, a lot of good things are coming out in this lockdown. A lot of new stories are being told, and because there is this limitation of geography or physicality, you can't exceed the dimensions of your home. I think because of that, the creativity that's happening within that space is a lot more. So
Right.
even companies that are little formulaic will have to leave their formula and be like, okay, now we can't use our formula, and we have to put out a new production, which means that they will have to be creative, which means that they will have to use their imagination.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about if you took BTS for all the interesting creativity that you've done. Yeah.
Yeah, man, no, we were shooting because, yeah, we've done this for the first time now. We we were shooting maybe 16 hours a day, because we were like, oh shit, this didn't happen well, let's do it again, let's do it again. Then you think ki, yaar, time hi to time, I mean, time hai hamare paas. It's not like we don't have time to do this, so let's do it properly. So if we did one take and we're like, actually it could have been better if it was framed this way, then we did it again. Then we'd say, acha, actually maybe if we try being, maybe the ebbs and flows of the conversation can be a little more contrasted, so that the beginning
Right.
of the conversation and the end of the conversation aren't similar at all. Then we'd shoot again. So it took a long time to shoot, because of which we just couldn't take any BTS photos. Like we just forgot. We were like, छोड़ो अभी काम करने का time है.
But I mean, the way you described it, it sounds like quite an experience, right? I mean, going back to what we were talking about earlier, creative or business and budgets, and here is like, हाँ ले लो कितना भी budget चाहिए आपको, क्या करोगे लेकिन budget को लेके
Yeah,
करोगे क्या?
exactly.
So
I mean,
that
it's just, I think people are more willing to. I think actually, I've got to say this. This is what I was talking to Kriti also about a few days ago. Was that my prediction of what happens because of this lockdown, and because of, even after the lockdown is over, let's be honest, things are not going to go back to normal immediately. It'll take a while to
right,
get back to normal. Because of which, I think more work is going to start coming out at lesser budgets.
right,
Because you know things are happening at home, things, people want, so there will be a certain drop in quality also, not of the storytelling side of things, but maybe like technical quality might go down, in certain
sure.
productions. But hopefully storytelling will become more dynamic, it will become more experimental, there might be more things that are happening, there might be more nuances that we can include, um, more time that we can take. So it's an interesting and exciting time that way.
No, I think I completely echo what you're saying. It's something that has come up repeatedly with people both on the creative and the business side that I've been in touch with. Right. I think first and foremost, uh, हर चीज को आपको about 4K में shoot करने की जरूरत नहीं है. Right.
Yeah,
You
that's
start
true.
with that, right? I was talking
Yeah.
to Gaurav Taneja, and he said, "Yaar, I used to lug around a 5.5 lakh rupee camera. I would feel like Hanuman carrying it around. And now I've been home for 2 months, and my camera is in my pocket. I've gone back to shooting on my phone. My audience doesn't see a difference. They still love it.
Yeah.
And the other side is, like you said, budgets. I mean, the cost of mounting has to come down, right? The cost of mounting can't remain in the multi
Yeah.
crores per episode, multi lakhs per episode scenario, because I'm sure you've thought about this as well, because of how it's going to impact theater, but because cinematic is going to get affected, right?
Yeah.
And TV is going to get affected in a big way. So the cost of creation has to come down, because
Yeah.
Netflix won't be able to match up to a box office collection, right? 100 crore नहीं देने वाला Netflix किसी को
Yeah.
अपनी movie platform पे लाने के लिए. So interesting
Yeah.
times from both a creative and a business perspective, and I love it. I think any generally a smart person who has their wits about this business that I talk to seems to be talking about it all in the same way. So I think we are going to make that kind of progress in the next couple of years as the industry tries to bounce back. Let me stay with
Yeah.
that for a second though, and talk about how you feel theater will cope with this, right? Everyone loves it, right? I mean, it's one of the original 8 or 9 forms.
Yeah.
It's something that's always had a cornerstone in Indian culture and Indian entertainment. But over time, it's always sort of dwindled into a sort of
Yeah.
smaller and smaller collective, right? Whether it's from a performer's side or from an audience side as well, right? Unless you live in some pockets of India where theater is considered massive. Like if you're in Gujarat, theater is great. If you're, Bombay
Yeah.
theater is great. Delhi theater is great. Certain parts of the south, some Bengal theater is great, right? But what happens now, right? Now that theater combines the two most difficult aspects of entertainment, right? A production
Hmm.
that is live production all the time,
Yeah.
and a viewing experience that is also live, right? What do you think happens for theater?
So I think there are two things with theater, and my mind is a bit scattered. So if I don't mention the second thing, just remind me to to mention it.
Of course, I will.
But I think there's one positive aspect and there's one negative aspect to what is about to happen with theater. Um, to start with the negative aspect, I think theater now, a lot of people have started doing online theater, and
Right.
there's like these Zoom calls, or there's online sessions, Instagram live videos about people uh, doing a performance in the confines of their home, and there are other people watching them. um, Unfortunately, I though I love the fact that people are continuing with it, my biggest love for theater comes from the fact that it's a medium where you are so intimate with your co-actor, with your director, with your audience, that that intimacy can't come through a digital platform. So there
Right.
are going to be far greater limitations to theater in the next coming few months while these lockdowns last. Um, and of course, people will again try to be experimental, and more solo performances or improv sessions and things like that will come up. But at the same time, I think theater in its most pure form will definitely take a hit, because theater is physical, as by
Right.
almost by definition. At the same time, I think, now coming to my second point, which luckily I've remembered, the positive side of
Right.
things is that I think once this lockdown is over, the respect that people have for theater is going to grow. And I think people might flock to see live performances. And it's because I think that, like you said, everybody loves theater. I think I'm going to add a caveat to that, saying that everybody loves to love theater, but
Right.
I don't think everybody has had proactivity to go and watch enough theater. There are
And they
still.
don't invest themselves enough in it, maybe in terms of
Correct.
consumption.
Correct. So, still there are people out there who, a lot of my friends, I'll ask, how many plays have you seen in your lifetime? And not counting school plays and children's plays and things like that, if you just see professional theater, that they've seen maybe under 10, they've seen under 10 plays in their entire life. And how many movies have you seen in a movie hall? Like they're countless, they're in the hundreds.
Yeah,
So
they'll probably watch 10 in a quarter.
exactly, exactly. So I think what happens with theater is that it's because it's an intimate platform. the audience feels the need to remain a little active. The performers feel
Yeah,
the performers right there. The audience has to also remain active, remain alert. They can't lay back and just like be in the third
फोन पे
circle.
कुछ देख रहा हूँ,
Exactly.
व्हाट्सएप चल रहा है.
So there's a little bit of performance that even the audience has to do in
I
going
love
to
it.
a
I love the
theater.
way that you put that. Yeah,
Um,
definitely, definitely.
because of which I think they weren't earlier doing it, but now they're craving it. Now they're like, that activity is what they want. That proactivity is what they want. We've been stuck in our homes for long enough to go and watch a live show. We want to watch a live concert. We want to watch live performances because those are really engaging, and there's no movie that you will ever see that pulls your heartstrings the amount that a performer on stage can do. What a rock star
Absolutely.
can do, a like, okay, forget about that. What a stand-up comic can do on stage versus what a stand-up comic can do on a Netflix special is there's no denying that the person who watches him on stage is going to feel more for him or her.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
so hopefully there's going to be more of a boom in theater right after this is over, and a lot of more people are going to go and watch, and hopefully someday it's going to be a viable medium for people to say I'm a theater actor and not an actor who's trying to become a screen actor, but right now I'm doing theater. That's not how it should be.
Inshallah, that happens. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully
I
it
want to ask
can.
you this as a follow up to that. Yeah. So a few friends of mine who are actors in the theater circuit in Bombay as well. Uh, they've done something very interesting and to me something super unexpected in the lockdown. They've
Okay.
all gotten on TikTok. They've all
Okay.
gotten on TikTok, right? That's what they've done, right? And and I loved it when you said an actor coming out and saying I'm a theater actor, right? What do you say about TikTok actors? How do you look at them as someone who's trained, who understands characters, reconstructs them, the character lives in you,
Yeah.
and then there's TikTok, right? How do you look at that?
Yeah. There's one step before TikTok also. There is actors who just do sketches and short format work.
Right,
And
right,
I don't think that there's a level of hierarchy to any of these. If you're acting, you've got the best job in the world. You better appreciate it. So whether you are a TikTok actor or an actor who acts in sketches or an actor who does web series or film or television or theater or street theater, you're doing you've got the best job in the world. So of course, as because TikTok is a new form, um, and it's not like people can say that no, this is not really acting, this is just playing, or this is just having fun.
right.
But we don't know the future of the world. We have no idea where things are going to go. Somebody from the 15th, 16th century who used to perform in Elizabethan era plays might not might will would have definitely looked at us and said that these are not actors. These are
Right.
monkeys who are just trying to make people happy. But the truth of the matter is that all actors without fail are monkeys who are trying to make people happy. So
Absolutely.
so like I don't know, I'm not on TikTok, so it's not like I am saying that it's a wrong thing to do at all, or it's a medium that doesn't have actors. It's just that I think it's new right now, and I don't know what the future holds for actors on TikTok, but at the same time, we all love watching them. So you know
Yeah, we do. My
might
God, we do.
might be a
Right.
great decision, and it'll just be a different form. It's like playing Test cricket versus T20 cricket. Yeah, it's different forms of
Versus
the
gully
same
cricket.
game, or versus gully cricket, exactly. And I mean, there are so many others. I've seen beach cricket happen. I've seen Chris Gale play on the beach, man. Like there are
Absolutely.
So there's different forms of cricket, and they love playing in all forms. So let's, as actors, say, I don't care if I'm trained or not. Let me enjoy doing whatever I can, man.
Would you be open to doing maybe a TikTok web series? You've just done like a 1 minute episode web series. Would you be open to doing like a TikTok web series? Maybe?
100%. There's no doubt about it. It's not about what the platform is for me. It's about what the show is and what my role is, and what does it say. What does it say to people who watch it?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Last couple of questions for you. So, I mean, while you've just wrapped up a beautiful show, and to all my listeners, please go check out Dice First's Empowered by Bumble with Love from Cadbury's Dairy Milk Syrup. Please go check it out. They're not paying me for this, so I'm just telling you that I'm saying this because it's a really lovely show. They're not paying me for this. Again, I'm going to call Anirudh and say, Dice, hello, please. Joking. But apart from that, what else? What else is keeping you busy, Pranay? How are you staying safe and staying sane in this lockdown?
So staying safe, we're indoors. We're making sure that the elders in the family don't go out. We are also going out very, very seldom to the market to get groceries and stuff like that, to get essentials. At the same time, we're making sure that we are not hoarding anything, because it's not fair to other people if we start hoarding things. So things are available in the market. We're going every maybe 4 or 5 days to be able to just quickly pick up something and come back. So safety is there. Sanity is the question mark right now for everybody in the world, I think. But me personally, we're doing this one really interesting, fun thing between all of us friends and a lot of the actors who did Baked. Kriti, Manik, Shantanu, me. We're doing this one. I don't even think we can call it a show, but we're just playing a bunch of messed up characters who are all part of one family, who own a local gym called Stallion Pandey Gym Co. And we have just we've just taken out an initial episode of introducing all the characters to you, and we've got different ideas about where we can take that. We have no idea where this is going to go. This is also similar to short form content, so it's not like we are making sure that
Right.
अच्छा ये इधर से ऐसे करेंगे, इधर से पैसे लाएंगे, इधर से बेचेंगे. We have no idea where it's going, but we're having a ton of fun doing it, because that's just, it's just us friends fucking around. So
It's fantastic. I mean, I think a lot of interesting stuff comes out of friends around. So that should be good. Where can someone catch this?
even I don't know right now. So you can go on to the stallion.pandey Instagram page and check out some stuff of theirs. We've just come up with maybe 1 or 2 posts right now, and hopefully soon there's going to be a lot of things happening. It's a mockumentary on this family that
Right.
that we're creating, and it's just a bunch of characters that are so depraved, all of them, that they become endearing, and at the same time they become a wake up call for society, saying that guys, don't be like this. So I think it's
Sounds like a sounds like Arrested Development set in Noida. A little
so
bit.
I have you seen the show called It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Of course, I love It's Always Sunny.
So we were trying to go for that set
It's always funny. Yeah, it's always
more than anything else. But
It's
yeah,
beautiful. My wife's a huge fan of It's Always Sunny, so I will definitely get her to check it out.
and so we,
And
all of us, just go mad watching that show. So so
this is
we've
beautiful,
got the
man.
same
Have
thing.
you have you seen Mythic Quest?
Mythic.
So
But
Rob
no,
McElhenney,
I want to watch it. Where can I watch it?
Apple TV. It's on Apple TV Plus. So if you have a Fire Stick, it comes free.
Oh,
And now I'm going to call Apple and be like, "Hey guys, pay me." Kidding. But yeah, Mythic Quest. You should check out Mythic Quest as well. It's doing quite well
yeah, I want to watch
on Apple TV Plus. If
that. And
like
Amy
Rob
Bio,
McElhenney,
I've heard, is a lot of fun with Glenn Howerton in it.
check it out as well. And apart from the cool stuff that you're doing during the lockdown? What are some other projects you're looking forward to once this is over? Stuff that might be on the table or might be something that you're working on.
Right. So there is a web series that I have kind of just about signed on to. I can't really talk much about it right now. Unfortunately, these contracts are so ununderstandable कि I'm like यार बात ही मत करो, मुझे पता नहीं क्या लिखा हुआ है contracts में. But yeah, it's a fun web series that's going to happen. I don't know when it'll happen now because of all this. But hopefully soon everything should be okay, and all of us in India and the world are going to be chilling together and hugging and shaking hands again.
Yeah, I hope so too. On that optimistic note, my last question is something that I ask all my guests on this show. Is if I ask you to recommend a piece of entertainment for my listeners, something that's close to you, that's important to you. Could be anything. Could be a song, a book, movie, a web series. Could be a meme or a video game. But a piece of entertainment that Pranay Manchanda would recommend to my listeners.
Okay. This is an exciting one. I would go back to the OG of entertainment for me. Something that I feel the guy who created it is an absolute genius. And I also think that the world needs to see this sort of thing again, because we need to loosen up. There's a lot of, I think a lot of people in the world are holding their breaths right now, and this sort of makes us loose and relaxed again, which is a show called Curb Your Enthusiasm. I think go back to watching that. Man. That guy is, Larry David is my absolute number one writer for comedy shows. He created Seinfeld, man. How much more does he need to do? But then he created Curb Your Enthusiasm, which took it a step further. So I'm watching that. On another side, I'm watching another genius show called Better Call Saul right now. So please watch.
Oh
that. Yeah.
Insane performances there.
Oh my
man.
God.
Better Call Saul as well. Insane performances.
It grips you so tightly. It's not funny.
Beautiful. Those are some really cool recommendations. Both shows I love personally.
I've been reading a short story book right now, so I can't really recommend anything, but I can show it to you if that helps.
We'll take your word for it. Yeah. Fantastic. Pranay, thank you so much for making time.
Thank you, man. I've had a great conversation.
Hot Sunday. Hey, it's lovely to have you here, and I'm pretty sure my listeners are going to enjoy getting some of the wisdom out of Pranay Manchanda, who's not a veteran, who is just
and who's not wise at all. Also, he's just got a very big mouth, so he talks a lot. That's it.
But some people should talk more, and we'll leave it at that. Pranay, thank you so much for spending time with us on Storytellers and Storysellers. With that, we have come to the end of this episode. This is Vineet Kanabar saying goodbye.
I hope you enjoyed that show. We'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Paytm Money. While we're still going through lockdown, let me recommend a few quick shows for you to listen to. Check out Uncle Please Sit with Joel and Tushar. Really enjoy that show. They unpack some of the greater issues that we're facing, and I think you'll enjoy that. Also, do check out The Traveling Professor. That's a fun show that I think you're really going to enjoy as well. Fulia Bazi is a great show. It's a Hindi show about policy and things like that. They had a great episode last week. A close friend of mine from college, Joy Paul, was the guest. They talk about different social networks being used for different things. Very cool show. And lastly, let me tell you about Simplified. Simplified did a live episode last week, and we're making the first part of that available on their feed right now. So do definitely check that out. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Thanks, and please do keep listening.
Hi, my name is Anupam Gupta. I'm B50 on Twitter. I am the host of Paisa Vaisa, the show that talks money On my show, I speak to experts from every field of money and finance, from stock markets, equities, debt funds, credit cards, life insurance, every possible area of money and finance that you can think of. We even did an episode on cryptocurrency. I've got fantastic guests from mutual funds to personal finance experts everywhere. Robo-advisory, startups, just name it, we've got it. At Paisa, we help you make smart decisions about money. You work hard for money. Now make your money work hard for you. New episodes out every Monday, and you can listen to my show on the IVM Podcast app or any other podcasting app that you have.
Beta, did you know 79% of all scientists in NASA are Indian only?
देखो, इंडिया में टैक्स सिर्फ मिडिल क्लास भरती है. Everyone is just enjoying free यार.
आजकल के youngsters are only interested in partying and enjoying. उनको देश की पड़ी ही नहीं है.
बेटा तुम बस शादी कर लो, उसके बाद तो you can enjoy life like anything.
I will tell you what this country needs. This country needs 15 years of dictatorship. That is the only way to become a superpower. See the Chinese, how much they've progressed.
सुनो, तुमने ये WhatsApp forward देखा?
So what's common between all of these statements?
They're all absolutely rubbish.
Fake WhatsApp forwards that spread like wildfire.
And statements that defy any logic.
They are here to debunk them all.
Way of family WhatsApp groups, worst nightmare. Where what happens when you read a book.
Basically, we're just a bunch of guys who want to cut through the bullshit of everyone saying this, how it won't be true.
So that the next time someone confidently squeezes out some WhatsApp or Twitter BS, you can look them dead in the eye and go, Uncle, please sit.
So join me, Joel.
And me, Tushar.
Every Mondays for a fresh new episode of Uncle, Please Sit.